Heljan's new Class 02 model has finally hit the stores. It's been a long time coming, and I for one am very excited to share this model with you folks out there today. Now, there's been a few comments from various people saying that it's not quite up to standard or worth the price. I strongly disagree, despite a few shortcomings you can see on the model. Let's get involved and have a look at this fantastic, super little shunter. So Heljan recently released their brand new tooling Class 02 locomotive. Now, this is a model which had pretty much always just sort of flown by my model acquisition radar, if you will. And it never really, what's the word I'm looking for, jumped out at me as something I would want to own, because you've got Class 7s, 8s, 5s, whatever. Loads of little tiny shunters available, whether you want to do steam or diesel. So when Heljan announced that they were making Class 02 some years ago, my ears pricked up a little bit. And mostly it was to say why? Anyway, as always, time progressed on. And of course the decorated samples started appearing at shows. And well, that's when I fell in love. The production samples were absolutely splendid. And long-time viewers of the channel may remember that I mentioned the Class 02 a while ago in several videos of mine, especially at some shows that we've been to recently at the Heljan stand. Now, Heljan have done various different liveries of this model. I've gone for the YEC yellow, which is this one here. I got this from Sawyer Models of Lee. Andy still does have some left, so if you're wanting one at a decent price, do give him a call or pop onto the website and he'll better sort you one out. Just say your mate Iron Horse sent you, and I'm sure he will increase the price tenfold. So let's get down to brass tacks. What's the model actually like now that it's here in the flesh? So actually, in your hands, it's a really good little model and surprisingly weighty in my opinion for what it is. Underframe detail is good without being too complicated. You can handle it without actually feeling like you're going to drop it and smash it. The light which you pull off here reveals the screw, one of the screws, which you can use to take the body off. You can just see the screw there. The other two are on the side. You've got one screw just here, and then on the other side of the frame you've got the other one there, and that removes the whole body, revealing the decoder. Now the handrails are quite flimsy but flexible, so they don't actually snap off. I did cast them a few times and they still stayed in place. So for those few minor things, I think we can give it a little bit of a pass. It's tiny, it's diddy, absolutely diddy, but it's lovely. That's all up to the camera for you. Now I've got some other footage that I'm going to sprinkle in to this review, if you want to call it that. And I'm here to tell you, it's cracking. What more do you want me to say? The buffer beams aren't sprung, which is, to be honest with you, fantastic. And my buffer beams themselves are nice and straight. They certainly don't look wonky to me. I don't really know of any other people that have had an issue with the wonky buffer beams, but it certainly wasn't present in my example, as you can plainly see. I mean, you know, mine are fine. Handrails, spot on, as you would expect really at this point, because it's not like Heljan don't have experience with making tiny, flaming weird little shunters. You've got the Class 7, as well as the Class 17, the Class 5, the Class 14, all of which I own, apart from a Class 7. I need to rectify that at some point by getting a Class 7. And all of those models have progressively gotten better with each release. Now the Class 47, which came out, is a lovely looking little model. A good personal friend of mine has one and he is absolutely elated with it. There are some people out there that claim the Bachmann offering is more accurate, but I've got to be honest with you, when you look at them both on the track next to each other, they both look like a Class 47. I think the Bachmann one is slightly larger for some reason, but again, they both look like a Class 47. And this looks like a Class 02. Now, it's a tiny little thing, and there's been some comments about the weight of it and whether or not it's strong enough to pull the skin off of a rice pudding. Well, yes, it is. I'm going to sprinkle some footage in a moment, and you will see just how big of a train it can actually run. So here we are then on the works layout, and as you can see we've got 3 Mark 1 coaches or whatever they are and a load of freight wagons, and it handles them all very, very well indeed. Now there's a couple of shots going over the viaduct which I may have already sprinkled in. I can't remember, they might be coming up, they might have already been on, but you can see it runs pretty quickly as well if you whack it up to the highest speed step. But of course that's not what this model was made for. It's a shunter. It's made for pulling coaches and wagons and full trains out of yards and release shunting other things and putting wagons where they need to go, and it does it extremely well, and it's a cracking little bit of kit for doing that job. Yes, that's right, it's time for the sponsors advert. Yes, of course, it is Sawyer Models of Lee. Why go anywhere else when you can get everything you need right here? They have rolling stock, accessories, scenic items, tools, whatever it is you need to build a banging model railway, they can absolutely supply it. And I should know, because I've been going to them for quite a while now, and I've got everything I've needed from them. You can either buy from them from their website, or you can go in store for superb customer service. Remember guys, visiting Sawyer Models really does help me out, so if you can, please do so, and do your part to keep helping support small, local, independent model railway stores. We need them now more than ever. So, pretty impressive, am I right? Now that was at the works layout, so I mean it'll work on my layout, of course it does, but it's nice to use the huge layout at work if you've got access to it, isn't it? Of course it is. Now sound fitting it is remarkably simple, as I mentioned or will mention later on. Getting the body off is a piece of cake. It's 3 screws and then you just lift the body off. The speaker is pre-fitted in here, and it's a Next 18 socket, so any Next 18 sound decoder will just pop in there and you've got sound. I don't think it can be any easier than that. And when you're looking at super small, fine detailed models like this, anything which makes adding sound is a welcome addition. It really is. And the fact that Heljan have bothered to add the speaker from the factory, just to think that they are actually thinking about this sort of stuff. My only minor criticism would be, like I mentioned earlier, the access screw on the top bonnet. I mean, it comes off easily enough. I mean, there's no need to stick tweezers or pliers in there and risk scratching the paint and chipping it. This just comes off with a little bit of old fingering, and it works fine. There's a tiny screw hole, it works. I'm not convinced that needed to be there. I'm not entirely convinced you needed that screw. And what I am sorely tempted to do is just add the tiniest LED on that. I mean, I don't think I'm talented enough, and it would need to be a really small LED, but there's a screw hole there. So I reckon you just leave the screw hole blank, put a wire down there, and attach it to a tiny resistor, perhaps, and loop it into the headlight switch. So you can turn, or the auxiliary switch, so you can turn it on and off. There's nothing on the back. I think there is actually a tiny headlight on the back there, but again, I'm not really asked about that. Is that a headlight? I'm not sure. Is that a headlight? Who knows? But this is all ifs, buts, and whats, and coconuts, and everything else. As it stands off the shelf, it's a cracking little bit of kit. And here we have it, prototypically flying over the Ribblehead Viaduct at work. And it's pulling a range of custom and limited edition wagons that my friends have made, and it's doing it way too quickly, but it is doing it, and it's not even slowing down. Fantastic. You've even got shunting lights. You've got one red, one white, and they all come on at the same time. Now, this might seem like an odd choice, but do you remember this is a yard shunter? It would never have gone near the main line, so really it's going to be going back and forwards all the time, so you're always going to have the shunting lights on pretty much all the time. So there's no need to have them switchable, but it would have been nice to have at least the front headlight actually work. And I would say, Heljan, if you are watching, which I hope you are, that would be my only criticism, guys. Just, that would have been really nice to see. But apart from that, you've done a rather splendid job, and I'm very, very pleased to be adding this little beggar to my fleet. As it comes in the box, the couplings are not fitted. They come with the accessory bag. So what's in the box? Yes, there is a box, put that over there. Yes, there is an instructions, put that over there. There is your usual guff. There is the packaging, which is the usual stuff you expect from packaging these days. It's just a plastic clamshell, whatever you call it. And of course you've got your detail bag, which I opened with my teeth, as you can see. And this includes within it, there we are, we have the two blanking plate things which go into the end of the buffers. We have two very small tiny hooks, which you know, they go into your things. And then of course you've got nameplates, builder's plates and what have you, which are very small and very yellow. And yeah, I can't actually see what's on that, but then again I've not got microscopic eyes, so that's probably going to need a little bit of weathering. This stuff's all going to go back in the tooth open bag and put back in the box, because I will never ever fit that to my particular model. But there are those out there of you who would and are interested in this sort of thing, so there you go. This is for your benefit. So yes, Heljan do give you some little accessories in the bag for you to play with, should you so wish to. And you can just screw them on in place there. You also got little blanking plates which just pop in the ends there. They're quite a tight fit, so you might need to just do a little bit of sanding on the actual plug itself. Nothing too much, it's just part of the manufacturing process. Things change, tolerances change. It's not new news to anyone. Just give it a little bit of a file and they'll pop in there. Nice and simple. I suppose in a way it kind of looks like the old Doc Authority shunter you used to get from, I think it was Triang some years ago. It's a similar sort of shape to my eye, at least. Maybe not as curvy and bulbous, but I think it's a wonderful modern addition. And I think it's crying out for a little tiny cab crew in there and a little chappie just stood in the back shunting around, perhaps holding onto the handrails. I'm really hoping that the guys over at Model U have something available to that effect, because I think that'd have like a really nice bit of interest, just having a chappie on there looking out shunting. And you're just seeing the cab there, guys, a little bit of wiring. Now that's because I fitted a super small stay alive from DCC Concepts. I tend to do this to pretty much all my models now, because it just adds a little bit of belt and braces for quality and easier running. Not that this thing really needed it. Runs on the main line and straight lines, absolutely fine. Huge crossovers can be a little bit of an issue, but come on, it's a little 040 and it's got, technically it's a split chassis, so it's not even got wiper pickups on there, so there is that to think about as well. But it does run splendidly, and as you can see, it runs molasses slow. Real creepy, real slow. So this is on speed step 10, and as you can see, it's very creepy and very, very slow running. Superb. Like a special needs sex offender. Creepy and slow. Now the yellow is a wonderful little colour. Everyone's going for blues and greens and for the Sam colour one, that's fine, but I think this yellow will weather up real nice. So I'm going to get the oil paints out in a little bit, and I'm going to fade the paint on it, and then add a little bit of a wash on there, and darken it down, and make it look like it's a dirty little shunter that spends all of its life outside, and now it lives on a heritage railway somewhere, doing shuntery nonsense. The decoder I fitted into it is an 80 models, next 18, and as you can see, I wish you all, it runs smoothly with the stay alive in there. It's cracking. There we are. So would I recommend you buy one? Now, yes, we all know the RRP is upwards of 170 quid, but this can be had from retailers for about 150 mark. I got mine, Sawyer models, 143 quid. So is it worth 143 quid? I think so. I genuinely do. I think it's worth 143 quid for what it is. And if you're not in any major rush, I'm fairly confident that there will be some of these models left around in the coming months, which might even drop below 140 quid. But really, for the sake of a fiver or a tenner, they're already at the right price for what they are. So don't risk losing out, guys. It's worth having. I don't know if Heljan will see fit to rerun the Class 02. I know they haven't rerun their Class 07 for a while, and that's something I want next. I've got this little penchant for tiny little diesel shunters at the minute, and the same can be said for little steam engines as well. I like steam engines, just small ones. I'm not really a fan of the big hulking ones. They're cool, they're nice, fine, whatever. I'm not really a fan of that. I grew up with diesels, so diesels is my thing. But I want to know, as always, what you, boys and girls, think of the new Heljan Class 02. Have you got one in your stable? My final recommendation would be yes, go for it. Buy the damn thing. I've not got any affiliation with Heljan. I get no backhanders from them, but I do like what they do. I like the cut of their jib. And their previous roster of models, which I'm going to overlay now. They all look the part. My Class 33 now lives on the works layout running passenger trains, and I've got my little shunters, and I've got 3 Class 17s. They must be doing something right. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching guys. Check out another video. I'll see you later on. Take care. Bye bye.